saw a ceiling I was familiar with. At least we're not sleeping on the stairs. Though I was groggy from sleep, I did notice that I was in my futon like I was every morning. I looked at my clock, and despite having turned in so late last night, I had awoken at precisely the same moment I always did. I was so low on sleep, but I guess you really can get up at the same time every day. The secrets of the human body never cease to amaze me. If I went back to sleep like this, I would definitely not be waking up again. I spurred myself on and slipped out of my futon. Mom asked me about last night at breakfast. Apparently, we too had gotten a call asking if we knew where Rika-chan and Sakuto were, and Mom vaguely understood that something serious was happening. So then, you were out late last night with all your friends looking for them? Until about 3, I think? Yeah. Did you find them? Rika-chan and Sakuto-chan, I mean. Crunch. I really bit into my toast. It really didn't have any taste. It had some jam to that toast. No cinnamon. Just then we heard the chime go ding dong. I looked up at the clock and saw it was about 5 past my regular meeting time with Rena. It was her at the door. Good morning. Did you get any sleep, did you? I think I slept for a few hours. You could probably count them on a chicken's toe though. How many toes do chickens have? Rena seemed pretty sleep deprived as well. There was something missing from her usual spirit. Are you going to school? Yeah, I think it will be better that way, she said, smiling a bit, albeit stiffly. Rena was probably worrying her heart out about those two as well. Even so, she wanted to go to school. If you stay at home today, I think you'll be worrying non-stop and sleeping. And you don't want that. So let's go to school together. Alright. Just wait a moment. I'll get ready. I was just a little bit happy that Rena mustered that much consideration for me. We went to the place where we usually meet up with Mion, but she was nowhere to be found. We were a little bit late today, so we thought she'd be waiting for us. I guess Mi-chan couldn't wake up today, huh? I guess that's right. For her, it wasn't just yesterday. She was up all night looking for the mayor, the night before last too. We waited for a bit. Time passed until it got to the point where it was okay for us to go on alone, and we exchanged glances. What do we do? Wait a little longer? At that point, my brain, which had finally been woken up by the morning air, recalled the ominous words Oshi-san had left me with last night. The leaders of the 3 families were disappearing one after the other. And next, it might be the Sonozaki's leader. Could Mion have? No, that couldn't be. Let's go. Let's let her sleep for today. Rena gave me a pat on the back. Mion, she's still here, right? Did you say something? Oh, nothing, just talking to myself. Let's get moving. The 2 of us headed to school by ourselves. On the way, we saw a bunch of our classmates accompanied by their parents. It even looked like some of them were being taken to school by car. Surprisingly, the principal was also standing watch at the school gate. I'd never seen that before. Good morning. Good morning. The principal was bowing to our classmates' guardians. The wooden sword leading next to him was a little ominous. Maibara-kun, good morning. Rugo-kun, good morning. Good morning. Your teacher has something important to say, so head straight to the classroom. Alright. Ben and I said nothing. The madness that only existed at night had finally crawled out into the sunlight. That's what it felt like. Good morning, everyone. The hushed conversations that had been spreading for a while now all disappeared like an illusion the moment our teacher walked in the door. Silence dominated the classroom. The principal came in with our teacher as well. This was clearly not a normal morning. First, the principal has something important to tell everyone. Go ahead, Mr. Principal. The principal cleared his throat and approached the dais. I'm sure of you already know this. The classroom was dead silent. Everyone was staring at Rika-chan and Sakuto's empty seats. The principal briefly and simply declared that Rika-chan and Sakuto had gone missing. There wasn't a single person in the classroom who didn't already know. There seemed to be many, however, who couldn't accept it as the truth. It had been confirmed to them now by the principal's words. There were sobs throughout the classroom, and I heard a kid crying. They steadily spread throughout the whole room. The big-hearted principal wasn't able to keep his cool either. Okay, everyone, pay attention. From today on, your parents or guardians will be taking you to school. For those of you whose parents can't do so, you'll be coming here in groups. I made a handout, so read it carefully and be sure to show it to your parents. Understand? The teacher's voice was a little abrasive. Not even she could conceal the strain she felt from this unprecedented abnormal situation. They should have just cancelled school today. However, Rena told me that the school was also like a nursery for the students whose parents both worked, so some of them wouldn't want school to be cancelled. Well then, let's begin the lesson. Class president, she's absent, I see. Then whoever's on duty today, let me hear it. All rise. That feeling of wanting to maintain an everyday atmosphere, even if only in school, precisely because our lives have been messed up, was something that I agreed with at this point. Everyone's in a poor atmosphere now. Is it lunchtime? Yeah. As for the teacher, who always had a lunch in the staff lounge, she ate in the classroom today. I had to laugh at her curry bento, which was just a room until now where there was no one to laugh with me. Rena brought her chair over and lunch over to my seat. Today it was only the two of us. The fact that we didn't need to drag any other desks over was sad. I'm sleepy. Yeah, I don't feel like sleeping anymore though. In fact, I'm jealous of the people that could sleep at a time like this. They've got nerves of steel. You're right. I was sleepy this morning, but my drowsiness had dissipated after coming to school and constantly feeling the incredible tension. Rena's bento box didn't have its usual luster. That was to be expected. Rena was up all night. Rena was up for a long time last night too. She couldn't have had the time to make her lunch beforehand, since it's not like she would have gotten up early this morning. Grab anything you want. Go ahead, you can admit that my bento is better today. Okay, then I'll have some. Wow, a chikuwa roll with perilla and cheese? That's interesting. I have no idea what two of those three things are. What the hell is a chikuwa roll and a perilla? No idea. Rena, yours might have ready-made food in it, but it's pretty good too. I realised the two of us were desperately trying to brighten the afternoon mood to its usual level as much as we could. I looked around the classroom. and it seemed like we were the only ones trying to do so, surrounded as we were by gloominess. Just the two of us sharing our lunches like this. It's sort of like something. Oh. Our laughter grew quieter. It was the first one to mess up. I was the first one to mess up. Sorry. I mean, well, I'm sorry. No, it's okay. It's not your fault. Our chopsticks both stopped moving. We couldn't keep it up anymore. Rika-chan, Sakato. I wonder where they went. Those words might have sounded too miserable. Everyone was thinking it, using roundabout ways to address the topic, but I came right out and said it. I heard Rena catch her breath. Yesterday while you were gone, I heard a bunch of things, so I'll tell you what I know, okay? Sorry again about last night. Go ahead. At that time, since they had arrived for support, Rena was helping the ladies' society cook the miso soup that we had. They reported all of the information the villagers had gathered, and Rena said she overheard it. They didn't know anything important though, did they? Rika-chan and Sakato went home after school, and then apparently went somewhere on their bikes, but other than that, Mion had told me yesterday. We had no clues. Yeah, the police also said that they probably went out on their bikes to go play somewhere as soon as they got home. If they were going out to play somewhere on their bikes right after getting home, then they might have gone into town. So I guess they concluded they disappeared while in Okinomiya. The police were saying how they were going to expand their search to Okinomiya in the morning. In town. God, I could be anywhere at this point in time if that was true. It makes sense why we couldn't find them even though we searched all of Hinamizawa then. Still, something didn't fit. I had no basis for thinking that, just a gut feeling. I revealed something to Rika-chan that was likely very important to her that day. Then Rika-chan had told me to leave it to her. Then, what did she say? Alright, if she didn't work hard, then something bad might happen to the dog too, I think. With all the talk of dogs and cats, I still didn't have the faintest idea what she really meant, but it might have been Rika-chan's way of saying this was a race against time. Damn it. I selfishly pushed my anxiety on Rika-chan and tried to run away. When I thought about it, I shouldn't have run away back then. I should have asked her more about the dogs and cats and about the birds and the bees. The more I think back on it, I really screwed up. Anyway, I don't think Rika-chan was in a situation where she would go off to play somewhere. Of course, I didn't have any evidence or conviction to base that on. It was just a hunch. I don't think she'd go into town. You think so too, Keiichi-kun? I agree. Rika-chan and Sakato must have disappeared in Hinamizawa. I looked back at Rena, startled. I could hear the conviction in those words. Without replying to my gaze, she took her bento box and went to the hallway. I'm going to rinse this out. She timed that in a way that broke off the conversation. Suddenly I got the feeling that the next thing she had to say would be very hard to say aloud in the classroom. I hurriedly grabbed my bento box and followed her. And I didn't go to the kitchenette, but rather to the water fountains out back, where the students seldom went. the water flowed down into our bento boxes. During that time, Rena didn't say a word. Then, after making sure there were no other students around, she finally opened her mouth to speak. The whole thing about Rika-chan and Sakuto-chan going to town to play and then disappearing, that didn't make sense for some reason, so I decided to investigate a little bit myself. So we have Ace Detective Rena on the case here. Who did you ask? What did you ask them about? I asked the Ladies of Society. I asked the Ladies Society all kinds of things. There's a lot of futon in the... There's a lot of futon? Nope, that is all from bedding in a soup. There was a lot of tofu in the miso soup yesterday, remember? The old lady from the Tomita Tofu shop came to the Tomita Tofu shop. Oh, I remember. That was the one of the stores on the road leading to the hospital. The huge lumps of tofu dancing in the bathtub-like cistern always looked nice and refreshing. I wonder how you do make tofu. The old lady says she remembers Sakuto-chan stopping to buy tofu on their way home from school. Tofu? Well, it's on the way home, right? How is that a clue? Just listen. Do you remember when we went to Rika-chan's house? Rena stepped away from the sinks and spread her arms wide to recreate the space of Rika-chan's room. There was a pot on the gas cooker and there was miso soup in it. I think there was probably about half of it inside. The rest was in the refrigerator. They must have been planning to make chilled tofu. It was on the plate in plastic wrap. As Rena explained, she walked around as if she was really going through Rika-chan's room. She's recreating it in her mind. Still, Rena, why does this matter? Keiichi-kun, when do you make miso soup? When you make miso soup, you put the tofu in last. That means that Rika-chan or Sakuto-chan, whoever was cooking, was standing there making it up until before dinner time. Right up until dinner time? Wasn't everyone saying that their bikes weren't around, so they must have gone somewhere to play by themselves? The trash in the countertop bin was put in there really awkwardly too. Rika-chan makes most of their food and lunches, but occasionally Sakuto-chan does it too. So Sakuto-chan was cooking that night. So that means that Sakuto at least didn't go somewhere to play. He was preparing dinner. Yeah. Then I took a look at the rice cooker and there was rice for two still in there. So she made dinner for both of them, but neither of them ate it. Is that it? Rena nodded. Next I looked in the fridge. There was some chilled tofu made from the other half they bought. That's not all either. There were a whole bunch of plates with side dishes for dinner, and all of them were in plastic wrap. You usually plastic wrap things so that you can have leftovers for the next day. My mom does it all the time too, using them for breakfast or lunch. That's right. You use plastic wraps to save leftovers for later. So the fact that they were in the fridge means at least they didn't plan on eating them that night at least. Is that what it means? Keiichi-kun, think a little harder. Their dinner was totally untouched and wrapped up. What do you think that means? Well, that means they didn't need to eat dinner anymore? So they would have gone out to eat or ordered takeout. It must have been really sudden too. If they had decided to do that beforehand, they wouldn't have made anything, but there was dinner for two of them. That means when Sakuto was making their dinner, they really thought they were going to eat it right until they didn't. So then, the theory about the two of them going out to play and then disappearing is wrong. Yep, they disappeared right after making dinner and right before they ate it, probably around 7 o'clock. Why would they have gone at a time like that by themselves without eating? That's obviously where this is leading. Keiji-kun, do you remember? On their fold-out table, there were things like soy sauce and a chopstick holder. It might have been something like that. I didn't remember. The container for soy sauce, it was empty. There wasn't even a drop left. Chilled tofu wouldn't taste good without it. So I looked under the sink for the larger bottle of soy sauce they have. You sure know a lot about where they keep their stuff. Haha, I've been to Rika-chan's house and cooked for them before. Rena cleared her throat, her face returning to a serious expression. Then when I opened the cabinet, the big bottle of soy sauce wasn't there at all. It wasn't there? What does that mean? Anything I'm going to say from here on out is just Rena's idea. So please just listen until the end without saying anything. Sorry about that. Had to double check something and turn the light on this room. Last night, Sakuto was making dinner like normal. Rika-chan usually watched TV until the food was ready, so she was probably lying down, watching a variety show or something. Sakuto put the tofu in the miso soup, and right when dinner was about to be served, she noticed that they were out of soy sauce. A tragedy. So Rika-chan, who had nothing to do, brought the big bottle of soy sauce to a neighbour's house to borrow theirs. I don't really know my neighbours that well. Would people be willing to give her soy sauce? Well, it is Rika-chan, she could probably get like anything of someone. Yeah, it's not that uncommon in Hinamizawa. So Rika-chan rode her bike out to get some soy sauce. No matter how long Sakuto-chan waited though, Rika-chan didn't come back. So then Sakuto called up the house where Rika-chan was going. Would Rika happen to be imposing on you? Something like that. Then the other person must have replied with something like this. We have plenty of food here, so you should come too, Sakuto-chan. Rika-chan has already eaten. I think that's how they called her out there. Sakuto called Rika a few names in private and wrapped up the dinner she had made for them. She put it in the fridge so she could use it for breakfast and lunch the next day. And Sakuto got her bike too and headed out for the house where Rika-chan was. And which house would that be? That's the question here. Okay, but this is already pretty strange. You don't normally make so much food that you can give it to people who suddenly arrive at your house. A veteran housewife would never normally make so much food that she would feed 2 extra people. Would it have been a coincidence that they had made too much? It's still unthinkable. Rena flatly denied me. Since Rika-chan knew that Sakuto-chan had worked really hard to make dinner for them, didn't she? No matter what kind of food she was offered, she wouldn't let Sakuto-chan's dinner go to waste. This was all circumstantial evidence and Rena's guesswork. Even so, it was all extremely convincing. It was the only ray of hope we had to topple this situation, bereft of clues. Then Rena, where did Rika-chan go to get soy sauce? That was the heart of it. It would have been somewhere she'd be comfortable asking for soy sauce, and somewhere Sakuto wouldn't think it suspicious that she'd been invited for dinner. So who was it? Rena slowly shook her head. Oh, what's the bad news? Oh, hang on. Yeah, you gotta love it when things on your phone just randomly beep at you, don't you? That's all for Rena's guesses. These are all just ideas, okay? Keep them a secret from the police. What is there to hide? Even if only half of what you say is right, it should be a good clue for all this. Keiichi-kun, this all means suspecting someone from Hinamizawa. You can't suspect anyone without a really good reason. I saw a few girls coming over to rinse out their bento boxes. Rena cut the conversation short there and returned to the classroom. I stayed there alone, my body bathed in the lively voices of the Crusaders? I think I lost the ability to say that word. Let's think about this in my own way. Rena had barely any information to go on, and yet she reasoned out that much. So there should be something that only I, who knew far more than Rena did, could deduce. Oji-san said this last night too, but this incident was definitely occurring within Hinamizawa. Rena might not have wanted to believe it, but it's basically a given that the culprit is someone from the village. The trigger for everything was when the four of us trespassed in the Forbidden Storehouse. Nobody saw us go in there, while the culprit's breaking the taboo was a crime punishable by death. So that night, Tomitake-san and Takano-san were sacrificed. And there were two left. Shion and myself. However, before the culprits bore their fangs on Shion and me, they went after the mayor to whom Shion had confessed her sin to. Next they went for Rika-chan, to whom I'd confessed my sin. Then what about Sakato? Just a stray bullet? By itself, Rika-chan being sacrificed after I told her everything was mortifying. But Sakato, who was sacrificed for no reason, wasn't that all the more regrettable? Everything was my fault. Who would be next to disappear? Would it be Shion and me next time? Why? I weren't the culprits going for Shion and me right away. If they had enough power to erase the mayor and Rika-chan, then why not just get rid of Shion and me? If they went for us, well, I wouldn't like it, but I could still tolerate it. What I couldn't forgive was their ridding of those we confessed to. Now that I think about it, yesterday Shion said something alarming. She felt like someone was watching her. So then, was someone watching me as well? Strangely though, I hadn't felt anything like that until now. Even though I am the root cause of everything, I had never once had that impression. Maybe that was simply because Shion was more cautious than me, and I was just careless. That's another story though. Let's get back on track. Why weren't the culprits going after Shion and me? I felt like that's where the key to this lay. Could it be? I was making a big assumption that I shouldn't have been? I thought and thought, but couldn't come up with an answer. The one thing I understood was that I was a concerned party to this case, and that I had a duty to watch over it until everything got resolved. Fun times for Keiichi ahead, isn't it? I heard the ring of the bell declaring the end of lunch break. Would someone else disappear tonight? If nobody else did, and I wanted them to get rid of me tonight for sure, and then put an end to all of this. Shion's hysterical voice on the phone last night came back to mind. They planned to murder those close to us first, make us as miserable as possible, and only then would they kill us. Hi Barakun, lunch break is over. Go back to the classroom. At the principal's urging, I returned to the classroom, which was quiet as the streets at night. Then it was the end of school days. There were a lot of parents picking up their children after school. It was just like kindergarten. The students whose parents didn't come went to home as a group. We left school with everyone else, following the assigned route. Even while leaving, nobody said anything funny. They all looked like exhausted mountaineers, silently marching through the mountains. As we went, one left and another, and in the end it was just Rena and me. I was supposed to be escorting Rena all the way to her house, but she declined. Will you be alright? It's not safe to go alone. Actually, I think Rena will be perfectly safe in comparison to what you could. Actually, she doesn't have a giant machete on her, so baby. It would be just as dangerous for you to go home by yourself and bringing me back. After bringing me back, Keiichi-kun. But it's still light out anyway. I'll be fine. I see. Then be careful, okay? Yeah. Huh? Isn't that a policeman? Rena pointed towards my house. Is Oshi-san there? There was a car stopped in front of it. Off. Oh, that's a fun typo there. Out of the car came Oshi-san. Off. Anyway, he must have been waiting for my return to ambush me. Toshi-san started walking over wearing that annoying grin. Rena, you should go. If you get involved with him, you'll be here for hours. But, what do the police want of you? With you? Rena's a good person. Even if I made a fuss over Rika-chan's disappearance, she never asked me why I did. He could have been suspecting me ever since then, and that would have been okay. Even so, she didn't ask me anything. He didn't try and pressure me into revealing the truth. I'm not the culprit. I know that. That said, I can't say that I'm totally uninvolved with this incident. Rena simply listened, smiling like she always did. Even though I had insinuated I was related to the incident, she didn't look at me as though she were looking at something dirty. I'll tell you next time. Okay, I'm looking forward to it. Get along. Let's go. Get going then. Don't know where get along came from. Rena gave me a slight a slight bow and trotted away, leaving me alone with Oshi-san, who walked over.